Thank you. It's very difficult to talk about the town of the future in Le Havre because Le Havre is a town of the future. It was designed at the end of the Second World War by Auguste Perret. At the time, it was not the same exercise of perspective that was achieved 7 years ago, again in Le Havre, but at the time they had to rebuild the town in an emergency after the bombings. So we have to think about the process for the town of the future and also the result. And rather than telling you what the town of the future will look like, I'm going to try and imagine with you what your town of the future could be. We're going to play a game called Transitions. This is a game that we have designed when we worked on perspectives in 2014, 2015. Transitions. Why transitions? Because transition is the word used to refer to democratic transition, demographic, ecological, energetic. It refers to the transformation of a complex system. Towns are a complex system. When this system has become unstable, and in order to bring it towards a more stable state, which is more suited to the current conditions. Now, what I find interesting is that a transition is also something that we look at when we study stories. And in stories, there is always a town, a hero. The hero can also be a complex system, a hero who lives his own life, and then there are things that disrupt normal life in the town. Something happens, and finally there is nothing more to tell because stability has been recovered. So we are going to try and tell the story of the transformation of towns as happens in this game Transition. Now, initially we have to agree on the starting conditions, the baseline conditions, the reason why the town can no longer live the way it is. And obviously there are a number of disrupting events, 3 categories: heavy trends, things that are imposed on us and there's nothing we can do about them; demography changes, climatic changes; also internal contradictions, things that we used to be able to manage, but finally there comes a time where we can no longer manage them. For instance, rising inequalities or innovation, changes in practices, technical proposals, economic proposals, social proposals, which initially we can deal with, but progressively they become unbearable. And if we want to symbolize this very quickly, because this is going to be a very quick story, we can symbolize the heavy trends and the internal contradictions with this donut graph that I really like. Kate Raworth's pie chart or donut chart. The areas within which our development patterns will have to find a place. There is the ecosystem, the things below which we have to stay or below which we have to come back, such as climatic changes. That is, if we want that our planet remains friendly and that we can still live on it. And below we have everything that we are being obliged to. It's a constraint. We can't really say whether we agree or we disagree. We have 1.5 billion human beings on Earth who live with less than $1.50 a day, or people who don't have access to drinking water, and we want them to have access to more money or more drinking water. So it's not an option. We want them to get there. Innovation, just to summarize, the digital world is going to help us raise the alarm 3 times. First of all, when we describe the impact of digital systems on the complex system, we have to come up with something that will make it more productive, more efficient, more understandable, which sometimes turns it into something which scares us. But on a daily basis, the digital world is the contrary. The digital world is the reason why taxis overrun Uber cars, and our daily life is completely upset, unpredictable because of digital devices, and digital devices are opening up new proposals, new economic practices. So digital techniques are leading to a disorderly situation, and you and I, as citizens, are not only information consumers, but also information producers. We can coordinate on a small level, and we can make maps, we can make prostheses in laboratories, and things that we believe are going to play an essential role in our daily life and in the transition, in the urban transition. So these are the baseline elements, the starting point, and the story can begin. How are we going to write the story? Well, there are two ways to write a story when you start from the beginning. Either you just write the story as it comes, one event after the other, one decision after the other, or you can cheat. This is what we call strategy. And you say, okay, this is where I am, this is where I want to go. And we try to tell the story that brings us where we want to go, or that is the most likely to bring us to where we want to go. Now, many models are available today as desirable endpoints. The most attractive one is that of the smart city, the intelligent city, which is considered attractive because then two things will happen if we go to the smart city. First of all, the spectacular effect of digital technologies, internet, data peaks, all kinds of optimization models, breaking down barriers between the systems. And really, this is a sort of painless resolution, apolitical resolution of most of the urban contradictions. Smart city, as it is being described in many books and models, and like this graph, is a more dynamic town where services are of a higher quality. It's a safer town, it's a greener town. People are more equal with each other, and there's a single model, and when a single model painlessly solves so many problems, this should make us think there must be something wrong. It can't be all that perfect. There should be some kind of alarm, because if anything behaves differently than what we expect, then town is that something. You remember, we still talked about the town of the future 2 years ago, Tianjin, and today we worry about cyanide. I mean, there are very nice things in that model, but we really must wonder about what the model is, what the best model is for the town of tomorrow. In digital times, the question is much more open than it was a few years ago. It should be discussed in a contradictory way, in a creative way. We can't solve the problem by taking collective decisions. We also have to act individually. I'm not going to tell you the end of the story. Maybe I'll provide a few keys for you to understand the end of the story, your town. And Le Havre in the future will not be the same town as Châteauroux or Lagos or any other town across the world. Observations. We are almost certain, at least I think so, the towns of tomorrow, because you remember that donut that I showed you earlier, will be denser than today. They have to stop spreading wildly over urban land areas, rural areas. Is there a way to achieve this result in a pleasant way? I think so, yes. Maybe this picture is an example. This is an architect's drawing of what Paris could be in the future. Well, one might not like it, but if a dense town were to be managed by an IT system, a huge IT system, a NASA-like sort of IT control room, Well, that would be very close to our science fiction nightmares. But there is another model. One model that can be derived from the internet, whereby it is possible to make huge systems with no central planning, based on national, individual initiatives and the efforts made by people, small companies, associations, individuals, amateurs, professionals. And this is one of the forces of the other digital world, the one that is on the side of the total chaos. This is the internet model that Jeremy Rifkin suggests we extend to the energy internet and also all around the circular energy, collaborative energy, or contributive energy. It's a model for tomorrow's town that the digital technology will help us organize in a very efficient way. However, the stakes, because there are stakes, is how to connect the individual level with the collective level, the local with the global level, the micro and macro systems. We should reinvent this level. There will be large architectures, large players, large structures. It's absolutely necessary to have professionals managing a network of trains and underground coaches. But there are several ways to do it. Look at what Brighton does in the United Kingdom. No more barriers, no more road signs. It's up to people to reinvent the way they want to travel. Maybe differently in the morning and in the evening, in the winter, in the summer. It's up to them to decide how they want to inhabit the collective space. Or Milan in Italy, trying to move from the slow food and individual attitude to the slow city. How to manage a town with several million inhabitants with the local agriculture. So we have the beginning of the story, we have the end of the story. We may have the beginnings of a blueprint of a model of government, trying to manage space, make people participate in production, including public service production. Right now we have professionals providing private public services, health and transportation. But we have to write the middle story. So, well, we're not going to do it now, but 2 alarms. A good story, a human story, is a complex story. It can't be all that easy. We can't simply write about a triumphant transition from the current state to the next state. It can't be that simple. There must be turnarounds and conflicts and people who fight and decisions that have to be made. But at least we have signals heralding the future, and you will understand very quickly that even locally you're going to find some signals. And the future you might want is there. It's already gestating in your territory thanks to the positive economy players. So up to you now. Play the game, and the game can be downloaded at this address. Thank you very much.